Yes friends, today I am taking this is my lecture number 4. Okay, in this lecture number 4, I always take some guidelines, some teaching process or how to understand what is Vedic astrology, right? So in continuation of my lecture series, 1, 2, 3, up to 3 lecture series I have taken up to now. Now this is the 4th lecture series, right? Now in this lecture series I am talking about what are the Samvatsaras. As I promised you, or promised to you that in the previous, I think second or third lecture series I talked about, or in the first one I'm not remembering, but I promised you that I'll talk about what the Samvatsaras and how Samvatsaras are framed, with the process of finding your own birth Samvatsara, in which Samvatsara one is born, or any person is born, how to find out what is his Samvatsara in which he is born, and what is the impact or importance of Samvatsara in one's life. I'll talk about this very important now. This is one of the basic technique of understanding your qualities, your tendencies, your inclinations towards anything. Okay, any person whosoever is born in a particular year, this is 1 year. Okay, these Samvatsaras are one full year in which Jupiter travels the whole, one sign. Okay, the whole zodiac is covered by Jupiter in 12 years. 12 years means 12 rasis or 12 signs covered by Jupiter in 12 years. That means per year one sign is traveled or covered by Jupiter. Average. This is average 1 year. This Jupiter's traveling or crossing one sign in 1 year is known as Samvatsara. Okay, Samvatsara means one full year. Either you may say it's a solar year or it's a, which is known as Samvatsara. Now this Samvatsara is the total time traveled by Jupiter in 1 year. Okay, so in 1 year Jupiter crosses one sign. For example, if suppose Jupiter is in Aries, right? In Aries, Jupiter will remain average for 1 year. Then in the next sign for next year, for the third sign for the third year. In this way, every year Jupiter covers the whole sign or one sign, or it remains in one sign for 1 year. These days Jupiter is running. Today is 26th or 26th year, 26th of October. So Jupiter these days is running in Sagittarius. Up to 20th of November of next month, Jupiter will remain in Sagittarius. After that it will go to Capricorn, right? So this is how for one whole year, it's average whole year, because the retrogression is all there. Sometimes Jupiter, okay, I'm talking about Jupiter. So Jupiter comes back to the same sign. It goes to the next sign, then because of retrogression, it comes to the previous sign again, then goes to the next sign. In this way, but average 1 year, it remains in one sign. This is what is talked about astronomically. So astronomically, Jupiter always remains in one sign for 1 year. Now this 1 year time is known as Samvatsara, right? Now how these Samvatsaras are framed, that I have to talk about, and what the importance of these Samvatsara. You will be surprised that when a native is born in a particular Samvatsara, in a particular year, in that year, the conjunction of different, because in this 1 year, or let me take the 12 years. In 12 years, Jupiter covers the whole zodiac. Zodiac means the 12 signs. Okay, the whole 12 signs, or the whole horoscope, in which 12 signs or 12 houses are there. If I just say that every sign is covered by Jupiter in 1 year, so in 12 years, Jupiter will cover the whole zodiac. Zodiac means the whole total signs of 12. Okay, 12 signs, which are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, then Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. These 12 signs form the whole zodiac. The whole zodiac is covered by Jupiter in 12 years. So you may say that in 12 years, Jupiter will come sometimes near to the Earth, sometimes far away to the Earth. Okay, so in this way, whatever the rays, say the what do you call, the injection of rays, the coming of rays on the Earth, sometimes it is very near to the Earth, sometimes it is nearer to the Earth, not very near, but nearer to the Earth. Then sometimes it is far away, sometimes in the middle. Okay, so what are the different kinds of rays which are coming to the Earth that influences, that affects, that influences, that impact upon the natives who are born in that particular year. Okay, so Jupiter's rays which are influencing a person's life, and it is being said almost all by the astronomers, mostly Vedic astrologers or Vedic astronomers or the rishis, that Jupiter and Saturn, these two are the major planets which influences one's life, right? Now you will be surprised that Jupiter and Saturn, these both planets, when they are, because Saturn is far away from the Earth, or it is the farthest planet. That's why it is known as Mand planet. Mand in Sanskrit it is known as Mand. Mand means which moves slowly, because Saturn takes 30 years to cover the whole zodiac. In one sign, Saturn remains for 2.5 years. Like 2.5 years, Saturn remains in one sign. 2.5 years, 2.5 years, 2.5 years. In this way, Jupiter takes in 12 signs to cover 12 signs. 12 to the 24 plus 6, that means 30 years. So in 30 years, Saturn covers the whole zodiac, or you say the 12 signs covers by Jupiter in 30 years. So every 30 years, Jupiter, after every 30 years, Jupiter comes to the again next sign. Now it is being said that at the creation of the universe, Jupiter and Saturn initially were on the 0 degree in the Aries sign. Okay, so from that Aries sign, Jupiter and Saturn, they again comes to the same sign or Aries sign at 0 degree after 60 years. How the 60 years time is calculated? They say that because Jupiter covers the whole zodiac in 12 years, right? And Saturn covers the whole zodiac in 30 years. If I take the LCM of 30 and 12, which is 60 years, I'll just talk about this. Okay, let me take one by one over the definition how Jupiter takes 12 years. Because Jupiter, they say that every day, average total, degrees, or you may say not degrees, but total, crossing of the, movement of the Jupiter, average movement of the Jupiter per day is 5 collage. Collage means minutes. 5 minutes, degree, minutes, seconds. So 5 minutes, not degrees, but 5 minutes Jupiter covers in one day. So in one day, when Jupiter travels or moves for 5 minutes, and because of that it takes 12 years to cover the whole zodiac, while Saturn moves average 2 minutes and 5 minutes. So Jupiter covers 5 minutes per day, average 5 minutes per day, and Saturn travels or moves 2 minutes or 2 collage, right? Collage in Sanskrit word, 2 collage, 2 kala or collage, English. Okay, plural word, collage or kala. So 2 kala, that means 2 minutes, and 3 and 5 minutes. Jupiter travels 5 minutes per day, and Saturn travels 2 minutes per day. And because of this, Saturn covers 2 minutes per day, so 30 degree in one sign is to be covered by Jupiter. Okay, or the whole zodiac 360 degree have to be covered by Saturn in 30 years. 2 minutes per day, 2 minutes per day. In this way, in 30 years, total 12 signs are covered by Saturn, and Jupiter takes 12 years, 1 year per day, per sign, 1 year per sign. So 12 signs are covered by Jupiter in 12 years. So because of these conjunctions, or you may say the combination of the Saturn and Jupiter, because they are the two major planets, and because of their influence on the natives on the earth, the major events of the life, you will be surprised that these Samvatsaras are presenting the whole life activities of the people. They are the indications, major indications of the one's life. A person who is born in a particular Samvatsara, you will be surprised that that kind of person will have, or in that year, the Samvatsara, how many people or all the people who are born in that particular Samvatsara are having a basic same type of nature. I mean, one or two characteristics are similar, correct? Because of the rays of the Jupiter and Saturn, they are influencing, they are coming to that native on the earth. Okay, when the rays of the Jupiter and the Saturn, they fall on the native on the earth, or the combination of those two planets rays is influencing a person's life. And you will be surprised that I have found 100% true. One or two major events are 100% true. Mostly the persons are influenced by these two major planets on the earth and the major events. And I think that Brahu Shahita, which is 100% true prediction, this is giving a person's life is fully described without any hesitation. A person born at any place of the earth, okay, or the globe, okay, if he is just told about the Brahu Samhita, Brahu Rishi's Samhita, or Brahu Rishi has written his own, what you call, predictions, everything is 100% true. I have found that a number of people are surprised, foreigners are surprised how they have got 100% true predictions of their life. Okay, and those predictions are, I think, they have been based on these two major planets combinations or conjunctions, right? How Saturn and Jupiter are influencing the native on the earth, and their life's productions are being described by most of the rishis I have found. Okay, and you will be surprised that all the events which are happening in a person's life, they are because of these two major planets, and other planets are undoubtedly they are also influencing. That is, different kinds of techniques are there, but this is one of the major technique, major trick, major event, major, what you call, influence upon the person's life, which is influencing his whole life. And you will be surprised. I have found that that is 100% true about any person. I'll just tell you about that how to calculate a person's Samvatsara. A person is born in which Samvatsara? Out of these 60 Samvatsaras, the name of these 60 Samvatsaras are written down here. So please just note down them, and one by one, in which Samvatsara you are born, a particular person is born. I'll just talk about that, how to calculate a person's Samvatsara, that I'll talk about. And after calculating that Samvatsara's name, in that particular Samvatsara you are born, and if you go through the characteristics of these Samvatsaras, because every Samvatsara is being described in our Vedic scriptures, Vedic Samhitas, Vedic books or Vedic rishis written materials. Okay, they have described that 100% true. I have found that almost all the techniques or those tricks are found, or those influences are found in a person's life. As I talked about in my one of the predictions, I think, about Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India at the moment, and his Samvatsara born, his I think his birth year is 1950. With the help of 1950, I think calculated this in his prediction. Okay, and in that Samvatsara, any person who is born in that particular year, that Samvatsara, is Shobhan Krata or Shubhakrata. I think 47, sorry, let me just take Shubhakrata or Shubhakrata Samvatsara, 34th, not 34th, which one was that? Shubhakrata or Shubhakrata? 37th or 34th? Yeah, 37th. 37th, which is Shobhana or Shobhakrata, Shobhanakrata, Shobhanakrata Samvatsara, 37th one. This is Mr. Modi's. I'll just calculate for you, then you will come to know that how this 37th Samvatsara, which is Shobhanakrata or Shobhana Samvatsara, Shobhanakrata, Shobhanakrata, Shobhakrata, Shubhakrata. That means the person is involved in doing auspicious things, the beneficial things, that the things, the activities which are influencing the person, the poor people's life. he's influencing, doing every time he is doing something very auspicious, very much pious, very much, helping type of activity. Whatever he has done for the poor people, for the public of the India, the citizens of India, and like bank accounts he has opened, okay, almost all kinds of things which are bank account, gas, okay, gas delivery to the person, cylinders are being distributed to the people, okay, all the toilets are being constructed, all kinds of those things which I found that the person who is born in this particular Samvatsara, he will do that kind of activities. They are indicated, influence. You will find that kind of influence or indications, right? Or you may say inclinations. You can say inclination, what is proper word. The person's inclination will be towards that kind of activities. Shobhakrata, the word says, all these words are just speaking about a person's activities, person's things, person's influences, person's activities, or whatever he will do in his life. That is being indicated by that particular word. I have found that 100% true. Okay, and all these things which are being described in the Sanskrit slokas or verses, Sanskrit verses are very much clearly describing a person's characteristics, and I don't know how they describe these things, or they have taken these into written material, how they have written those things, but are totally describing a person's life. You will be surprised that. Okay, and I'll take some illustrations. Okay, how to calculate one's Samvatsara. I'm going to talk about, but before that, I'm just talking about how these Samvatsaras, okay, are framed, are formed. Why these Samvatsaras are being studied? Or these Samvatsaras are talking about a person's inclinations, tendencies, how a person is tending towards doing what are his activities, what he will achieve. That person who is born in a particular Samvatsara, I found that 1909, if I calculate the Samvatsara, there are 56 Samvatsara, 56 Dundhavi Samvatsara is there, Dundhavi. And when I just saw that Dundhavi Samvatsara, okay, then that Dundhavi Samvatsara says that a person born in this Samvatsara, or any native who is born in this particular Samvatsara, he will be well recognized, will be given the rewards by the king. The king will respect him. He will be respected by the government, by the kings. The king will respect him, will give him all kinds of facilities and all those things. He will be celebrated. The whole of his life will be full of celebrations because of the king's support. The government will support him, the kings will support him. This kind of, this Dundhavi Samvatsara, which is the 56th Samvatsara, 1909, a person born in Christian era, Christian year, 1909, that person's Samvatsara is the 56th Samvatsara. I'll just calculate how this Dundhavi Samvatsara, 56th one, 56th Samvatsara is Dundhavi Samvatsara. I'll just read or pronounce every Samvatsara after some time. Okay, first let me take that how to calculate a Samvatsara and how these Samvatsaras are being framed, or what are these Samvatsara? These 60 Samvatsara, because of the LCM of 12 and 30, because in 30 years Saturn covers the whole zodiac, in 12 years Jupiter covers the whole zodiac. Zodiac means these 12 signs of the horoscope, or you may say 12 signs, total 12 signs, 360 degree, or Saturn moves 360 degree to the whole horoscope is covered, 12 signs are covered, 12 houses are covered by Saturn in 30 years, right? 2.5 years per sign, 2.5 years per sign. So 12 to year 24 plus 6, 30. So 30 years are taken by Saturn to cover the whole zodiac, cross the whole zodiac, to travel the whole zodiac. Zodiac means the combination of 12 signs, Aries to Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc. up to Pisces, the 12th sign, right? This is known as zodiac. So zodiac is covered by Saturn, or crossed by Saturn in 30 years, and by Jupiter in 12 years. So the combination of these two planets, which are major planets on the earth, because every native who is born on the earth is being influenced by these two major planets. And we will be surprised that 100% indications are there. Even other planets are also defining. Moon is also defining the person's activities. Sun, Moon, every planet is defining, but these two major planets are influencing the person's life, giving status to the person, giving inclination or tendency of the persons are there vividly defined. Okay, they are described in a very, very clear or descriptive manner, and there is no doubt about this. Okay, so Shobhana Krita are just taken two examples here. 1909. Now let me talk about what is 1909. 1909 is the birth year of the Hardev Shastri Sharma Trivedi. Okay, Hardev Shastri Sharma Trivedi. There were two astrologers, but major what is the role of Hardev Sharma Trivedi Shastri is noticed in case of independence horoscope. Independence India's or India's Independence Day's horoscope was formed, was casted. That horoscope was casted by Hardev Sharma Trivedi, and he was born in 1909 in at place Udaipur in Rajasthan. Okay, and 2:56 I think a.m. at night. Okay, and 2:56 a.m. at night, 2:56, 2 hours 56 minutes are at night. So his horoscope I'll just frame afterwards, but before that I'm just talking about that 1909. Because these two people are famous and unknown to the people. I've already talked about who was Hardev Shastri Sharma Trivedi. This person, Hardev Sharma Trivedi, was a great astrologer at the time of India's independence time. He was a priest from Ujjain. There was one more, Surnarayan Vyas, I think. His name was Surnarayan Vyas. Surnarayan Vyas and Hardev Sharma Trivedi, these two were the priests from Ujjain temple in Madhya Pradesh, and they came to Delhi, and they were very famous astrologer in those days, and they framed the horoscope, they casted the horoscope of India's Independence Day. Because of that, India got independence at night, after 12:00:15 minutes on 15th of August at night, right? That's why this person who was born in 1909, and you will be surprised as I am talking about what is description given to this Samvatsara, 56th Samvatsara, which is Dundavi Samvatsara. So he was celebrated, he was given honors by the king, he was given all kinds of facilities by the king. King means Maharaja from a king from Himachal Pradesh. He gave him a palace type of bangla in Solan in Himachal Pradesh, and there he lived for his whole life. From there he came to Delhi, used to come to Delhi to publish his Panchang or something. And okay, his Panchang is okay. He published afterwards the Panchang also from Delhi, Chandni Chowk, Delhi. Okay, and this person, this astrologer, now he is no more. Late astrologer Sri Hardev Sharma Trivedi, he was given a palace type of house. All kinds of facility, land was also given to him. All kinds of facility were given to him by king of Himachal Pradesh. And the rishis have written that the person who is born in the Dundhavi Samvatsara, he will get all kinds of facilities from a king. Now, how this can happen? Yeah, this is what I just think, that all kinds of these things, this tendency, inclinations, a king will honor him. What is his activities? That is other thing. Because of his astrological predictions and all those things, he was celebrated. There is no doubt about this. He was given these kind of facility by the king and at Himachal, at Solan. But he was born in 1909. And Samvatsara, I will just calculate the Samvatsara. These two examples I will take here. After that, you will understand how to calculate the Samvatsara, name of the Samvatsara. Alright. That point is there. So this is what Samvatsara define about. The inclination, the tendencies of a person's life is being described by these Samvatsara. Any person who is born in a particular Samvatsara, that particular year, he will have that kind of tendency. One or two characteristics, you will find that 100% two characteristics are found in that person. You cannot just, we cannot imagine that without those tendencies a person is born. Either he is given that his year of birth wrongly he is given, or if his correct date means year, mostly year, the other years, Samvatsara are years. When a particular year a person is born, that kind of tendency he will have, inclinations he will have, that kind of activities he will do, that kind of, what the names suggest, these names are suggesting a person's activity. But if you go through the description of these Samvatsaras in Sanskrit, verses is given, translation is given in either in Hindi or in English, you can find. Number of books are given. Okay, almost all kind of centers are available in the market, but you can just go through number of other things. Okay, so you can find these description of these Samvatsaras, and out of those Samvatsaras, if any good writer is given, that Rishi has written a particular Samvatsara in a proper manner. Now, you know that these Samhitas were written thousands of years back. Okay, because in 505, Baramir was born, as I have told you about. That Baramir, one of the great astronomers, astrologer, he has also defined all these Samvatsaras. All these Samvatsaras he has also talked about. He also gave that these are the Samvatsaras, they are talking about a person's life. Okay, those inclinations, those tendencies are found in a person because of the influence is the rays of these two major planets, Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, Jupiter and Saturn, how they are influencing a person's life, they are being described by this one Samvatsara. Every Samvatsara is defining a person's life. A person is born in a particular Samvatsara, and his characteristics, his tendencies, his inclinations, his tendency, mostly tendency or inclination towards a particular thing, doing something good, something wrong, something okay, all those kind of activities are found in that person's life because of these rays of these two major planets. Okay, that influencing a person's life, combination of rays or at the angles in which, on which the triangular angles or angles, the tendencies of these two planets, at which angle they are working. So every year they are having a distinct kind of rays which are influencing the earth. The natives born on the earth, they are being influenced by the rays of the combination of the rays of these two major planets. So because of that, a person's life is being changed or described. Inclination or tendencies of that person's are well defined by the rays of these two planets. Now let me first talk about that. Okay, I'll read all these 60 Samvatsaras, what are these 60 Samvatsaras later. But as I have told you about, let me describe one by one whatever I have talked about. That how Saturn and Jupiter, they travel every day, what is their average movement, average kalas, how many kalas they are traveling. Kalas means minutes. How many minutes? Degrees, minutes and seconds. So every day the average kala or minutes of Jupiter is 5 minutes. I'll just talk about out of the 5 minutes. This space I have taken here just to describe all these things, to write here, write it down, everything. Okay, so first I'm talking about that what is the Samvatsaras. First let me take what are the Samvatsaras here. What are the Samvatsaras? Sorry, not the proper one. Let me take the proper one. Okay, this is also not a proper one. Okay, this is okay. Now first is what are the Samvatsaras and how they are formed. Samvatsaras are written down here. What are Samvatsaras? What are the Samvatsaras? What are the Samvatsaras? The first point is. Second point I am talking about how to calculate a particular the Samvatsara. How to calculate the Samvatsara. The name of the in which Samvatsara a person is born. That we have to calculate. How to calculate the Samvatsara. Okay. Then how Samvatsaras are formed, that I have already. What are Samvatsaras? How Samvatsaras are formed. How Samvatsaras are formed. third point.